This segment of DelmarvaLife is sponsored by the Ocean City Department of Tourism.
Our next guest has been acting for as long as the hula hoop has been around. 1958, he made his debut at only 7 years old. He was on Broadway and was soon cast in movies along stars like Paul Newman, Bruce Davison, and Patty Duke.
But it was his nearly decade-long role as John Boy on the Waltons that made him a cultural icon and gave the world one of the greatest goodnight catchphrases in pop culture history. Using his own words and stories, this Emmy and Tony Award nominee is set to capture the humor and essence of another cultural icon, Mark Twain. Joining us via Zoom is a legend himself. We couldn't be more excited to welcome Richard Thomas. So good to see you. Hey.
Hi, good to see you too. How are you doing?
Doing great, great. So I want to start off with talking about this show, this one-man show you're doing. You had to do a lot of research to embody the spirit of Mark Twain. Can you tell us what was the most surprising thing that you learned about him along the way?
Well, yes, actors love to do research. I mean, we're really avid researchers, and when you're doing a role or in a period or whatever that offers the opportunity for a lot of research, it's great. And Twain is a bottomless well. So, you know, I'm finishing my third biography, and I've been reading through his work, which is enormously helpful because you really get his voice in your ear. And I don't know about surprising. I mean, the thing about Twain that is so wonderful when you read him is that he's just out there for you 100% warts and all. You know, he doesn't have a polished, I mean, obviously he had a persona in terms of performing, but you know, he just lets it all hang out. You really feel like you know the man. So it's a very intimate feeling to be working on Twain, which I love. And you know, he's so exciting because he embodies all the contradictions of our country. I mean, he's quintessentially American, and what was relevant in 1905, which is when this lecture is supposed to take place, is surprisingly appropriate today. It's just amazing.
Interesting.
So, kind of asking for a peek behind the curtain here. How do you balance honoring Mark Twain with your interpretation of the role?
With what?
With your interpretation of the role.
Well, I mean, that's what we do as actors. I mean, that's it. You know, we're playing, it's Richard Thomas playing Mark Twain, so it's always going to be me. You can't be anybody, ultimately you can't be anybody other than who you are. But, you know, there's a lot to read about how he spoke, and there's no recordings of his voice. But there's a lot to read about how he sounded and what his delivery was like, and you know, there's a lot you can learn about it. But you know, I just let the language tell me what to do, because his language is so wonderful and so vivid and so beautifully crafted that you know, I just get there in my suit, I get my wig on and my mustache and go out there and start speaking his words, and it just seems to kind of sit on me, and it's okay. You know, it's just, but it's a funny little kind of magic that happens for actors when we take on a part. You can't really worry too much about being like authentic all the time. You just have to really be there. You have to observe the authenticities, but you know, you want to be yourself. You want to be really talking to people.
Yeah. Okay. So if you could talk to Mark Twain, what question would you ask him?
How am I doing? How am I doing? And he would tell you, he didn't pull his punches, Mark Twain, on any subject.
So let's counter that and say Mark Twain were to be on the Waltons. What kind of humor and wit do you think he would bring?
Well, I mean, he'd be Twain, you know, he'd be garrulous and slightly avuncular, but very, very, you know, direct and funny. I mean, the thing to remember about, as serious as his subject matter is, it's always viewed through the lens of humor most of the time. So, you know, the pills are sweetened. You know, he's got a lot to say about society and religion and politics and all those things, you know, and human nature first and foremost. But those things are all, you know, spoonful of sugar, and that's his specialty. So I imagine he would have been very entertaining, as a guest, and probably would have ruffled a few feathers.
Yep. Yep.
All right. So what's one
He
thing?
and Grandpa would have gotten along.
Oh, absolutely, Grandpa. Yeah. What's one thing you hope audiences will reflect on long after they see your show?
Well, Twain is a great treasure, and he continues to speak to us as we are now, and he's enormously entertaining to read. So the main thing is, I suppose, first of all, I want people to be entertained. That's the most important thing. That's what I do. And I want them to have fun and be entertained, but I also want them to come away maybe thinking about the things he's been talking about and asking themselves questions in terms of how they relate to what he has to say about all these more serious issues. But really what I would like most of all is for people to become even more interested or more deeply interested in Twain himself and start reading about him and also young people or people who have no acquaintance with Twain, because he's not taught the way he used to be taught or should be taught.
Right.
And I'd love it if young people would all of a sudden go, well, who is this guy? I want to know more about him.
Well, I can't think of a better way to learn more about him than to see the show, Mark Twain Tonight, at September 5th at the Ocean City Performing Arts Center. Tickets are still available. And Richard, I just want to say, as somebody who, in my home, the Waltons was must-see TV, I feel like I'm talking to my big brother.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I love thinking about the show and talking about it. It was a great thing for me, and we're all still like a big old family, all of us. And so whenever someone says like something you've just said, it means a lot to me. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And enjoy your time in Ocean City.
Yes.
Oh, I plan on it. Okay.
Bye-bye.